this meeting.
A very good morning to all the dignitaries here. It has been a very different kind of experience today to listen to Jerrin Chandan, a movie maker, a filmmaker, on such an interesting topic. Especially the address and the keynote speech, as well as the interactive session between Aditya Modal and Jerrin Chandan, was highly invigorating and scintillating. Because of this wonderful interaction, we have gained a lot of perspectives. Cinema, sir has discussed, Mr. Jerrin has discussed lot many issues. I think all the aspects under the sun have been discussed and covered, and so many finer nuances of the filmmaking process and literature have been brought out today, this morning. I'm really very lucky to have chaired this session of such an enlightening session and speaker like Jerrin Chandan. And it gives me a tremendous pleasure, a sense of pride to be here with them. As you know, iSPELL, right since from the inception, right since its inception in 5th September on Teachers' Day, has been dedicated to the academic cause and have been organizing such wonderful lectures such as today's lecture. And I'm also really happy and very glad to see that Tripura Forum is doing a wonderful job. With this lecture, I can see Tripura is also achieving great heights. Facilitate to elevate has been the motto, and as we can see that Mr. Jerrin has discussed cinema as a text, meaning movies and meaning, and cinema as a text, and all the aspects related to it. Actually, he has connected various threads, and as we can see, the relationship between literature and cinema has been inseparable. It is inevitable. The relationship has been actually evolving, growing, transforming, changing with the changing trends and shifting paradigms. And the technology has added fuel to the fire, and technology has done a wonderful job. And today we have what we can see, we have lot many video softwares, video conversion softwares, recording softwares, screen recording, and whatnot. There was a time when making a movie was a prerogative, or just the privilege of a select few brand directors and the brand heroes. But in the modern world, in this postmodern world, as we can say, that movie making is now everybody, everyone is a hero, everyone is a star, and everyone can become a director, the one who has a talent and niche for it and the aptitude for it. So, sir has been discussing that cinema is a text. When we talk cinema, which is a visual medium, literature and cinema, there have always been literary adaptations of the text, and literature also adaptations. We have Shakespeare's adaptations. Shakespeare has been redefined, and the new meanings were added, and even the Rabindranath Tagore's um, works and all the literary writers and the creative writers, the works have been translated and transformed into the cinematic medium, in the medium of cinema. So we can say, I especially appreciate one line that write a book, as he said. If you if you have not written a book, write a book. If you have not made a movie, make a movie. So these are the aspects which are highly inspiring. This lecture has been inspiring, has been generating insight into us. It has been very, very revealing, eye opening on various issues that we can also, if we have such dreams of making a movie, filmmaking, we can jump into it. And nowadays, we can see that there has been online teaching. There was a time that there were teachers, great teachers, and the great actors, the great talented people who served for 40, 50 years, but they don't have anything recorded as such. So this technology is giving us, and the digital tools and the technology and the various aspects have given us wonderful platforms that we can showcase our talents. We can exhibit what we have. Even the teachers, otherwise in the offline normal classes, there was no tendency to record their lectures. And see, today our lectures like such as this wonderful lecture today is on YouTube. Sir has talked about various platforms, even YouTube, and he has talked about that all is political, medium is the message, technological complex, which is a separate issue in itself, cinematic language, base structure, the art of storytelling, cinema and literature and their interconnectedness, and the issues of money, the monetization. And for example, you raised a very pertinent question issue that 4,000 hours of watching and viewing are needed. So these are the limitations with the filmmakers today. So, and how we transform from text to visual part and visual to text. But I appreciate your one line, as you have said that you have to show more and say less in films. This is applicable, and you showed us some of your videos also, which clearly reflect this. So the movies should be able to inspire, transform, elevate, enhance, and they evoke multiple emotions. This is what you have talked about, sir. So various threads have been connected, and there we can see that there is the this relationship of cinema is unending and is going to be therefore. And you also talked about the difficulties as a Hindi filmmaker during the interaction with Aditya, the finance, the freedom to choose, the time and locations, and various such others aspects. But I must agree with you on one point, which is the crux of the whole thing, is that you need to have ideological stand. You need to have convictions, and you need to know what is happening around us, and therefore we should be able to inform and educate. If it is not necessary that we need to offer any moral message or we need to be didactic, but we can be realistic, and there can be a realistic display of the things that are, because the development of awareness, this is the purpose of the cinema also, that they help develop awareness also. And that therefore you talked about, just as we in text we talk about reader response theory, here also you have considered audience, and also you have discussed the that you have to engage the audience. Engagement of audience is very necessary, and you have also talked about cinema as a career and the answers, and you have beautifully answered all the questions like adaptations. I really liked your answer when you were answering that adaptations, that what remains the same, the ideology remains the same, but what is different, they are the extraneous factors, the external factors, the movables are the changing parameters, such as the cultural differences, the locations, there can be the other time frames and the historical perspectives and all that. You also talked about OTT, that theaters are not at stake. I do agree with you that the theaters are not at stake. They are not in danger. They are not in the danger of extinction. But the OTT platforms and the theaters, they have different positions and different parameters, and they have different purposes to serve. And the current Indian film industry, as you talked about, short films. When you were talking about Nasiruddin Shah, it reminds me of one thing, that there was I need to mention a few you know web series, the cinema. For example, when you see that cinema is a text and text involves a language, we can see that there's a lot of distortion in the language. The language has gone base, the language has gone corrupt, and there's more use of the foul language. On the one hand, I agree with you that you said we need to show more and say less. But on the other hand, there's another trend that they want to say they they want to say more and show less. This has been the trend on OTT platforms also in terms of the language. So we can see the language. There is a corrupt and base use of the language. There was a time in the literary parameters. We have lot many literary critics. We have Longinus, we have Aristotle, who have propounded the theories of comedy and tragedy, and we have the critics like the classic critics like Longinus, who gave the notion of romanticism and sublimity. And we have that the language has to be very sublime, the big thoughts uttered in a big way, the elevated thoughts uttered in a elevated manner, lofty thoughts in lofty manner, grand thoughts in grand manner, in grand style, what Milton had conceived, and in and the sublimity of language gives the universality to the literature and to the cinema. You know, there are many songs, there are many movies which are released, and within a week, hardly within a couple of days in the box office, either they hit or they turn into a fiasco, or they are box office great failure, and we forget the movies. And there is a song, even we forget the last week's song or the last year's song, and there are songs which are universal, they are evergreen. There are movies which are evergreen, maybe because of the sublimity of thought, sublimity of action, sublimity of language, and all that. Those movies have the element of universality, and they testify and they are tested on the touchstone of the literary parameters. So now, there are in OTT platforms, in Hindi movies, we can see that they are using the foul language just for the heck of it, just for the sake of it, just to showcase, just it is a deliberate, on purpose use of the abusive language, just in the name of reality, just mm, just for the real shows, just for the sake of showing the real picture around us. But that is not only the real picture, the real picture is also the sublimity. It is the perspective that is more important. So the concept of shared values has broke the concept of shared values which perpetuated the element of faith in God. Arnold also offered that how to live. It answered the question. It offered the moral on how to live. That is the criticism of life, which just matches with what you have said today, sir, that there has to be an ideological stand and convictions and something, a message to inform and educate, as you have said. So, so you can see that there is a obscene and foul language in the name of reality and realism. That is one picture which is being highlighted more, which is being underlined these days. And whereas I happen to see some of the I have seen most of the Hindi web series, Hindi cinema. So in English, we hardly have few, a very select few, the terms which come under the category of obscene language, which are being repeated in the English movies. But Indian languages are rich. The literature of these obscene languages is very rich and we're full of variety, which is being fully exhibited and showcased in the movies today in terms of the language. I happen to see one movie, a web series, which runs into 3 seasons, each with 10 episodes. That is Kaminsky Method. The Kaminsky Method. The Kaminsky Method, where Michael Douglas is featuring, and the movie is wonderful. Despite the foul language, the language, we tend to ignore the language because of the message, because of the depiction, because of the characterization, because of the humor, because of the different aspects that have been shown, like the generation gap, the true friendship, and what is happening in the American society these days, and the younger generation and the older generation, the issues of money, and also the literature. Michael Douglas, who plays the role of an acting coach, he teaches acting through the literary, and he's as a theater artist, and he's teaching his students how to perform in the theater. And we can see that we have the literary aspects like the works of Virginia Woolf, Shakespeare, all such have been beautifully rehearsed in the. So the connection of literature and theatre has been beautifully, as you mentioned, Nasruddin Shah. So this reminds me of Michael Douglas, who has played a wonderful role in the Kaminsky method, and he himself is the director, and the role of the director that he has played. So, despite the various issues have been brought about which prevail in the Americans, I think this is the because of the language, even because of the little bit of foul language, obscene language, and violence and whatnot, we tend to ignore it altogether because it doesn't affect us much deeply. What affects is the humor, the wonderful language, the literary depiction, the literary parameters outweigh than the language. Another series, web series is on Bates Motel, which is based on more of Psycho. Is a pre-sequel to Psycho. It's a pre-sequel to Psycho. Psycho was released perhaps in 1960s. It was a movie, wonderful, based on a wonderful work, and then the pre-sequel has been mentioned, Bates Motel, which runs into number of web series and episodes. So the way it has been depicted, the kind of language, the dialogue delivery, and the humor, the pathos, and the suffering, the pains, even the violence has a purpose. Even the language, foul and obscene language, has a purpose to cater to them. So when certain ideology convictions are upheld, then the language becomes minor. But this is the trouble, this is the dichotomy, this is the anomaly with our Hindi cinema, or for that matter, other Hindi um, web series or teleseries in other Indian languages, that in the name of reality, what they are serving with us, they are corrupting the younger generation with the foul language, and they are what example they are setting up. So even if the foul language has to be used in the films, if they are showing less and saying more, so and ultimately just there are many movies, I say in the name of the art movies, I happen to watch ek kahani or ek katha, something like that. When you watch the whole film for 1 hour on OTT platforms, then we realize that the lack of ideological conviction, the lack of the the very message is missing, and we feel that we have been really been befooled by the director in the name of the art film, and because they bring us with the wonderful artists in the movie, the celebrities there who are known for such, and we go for the actor or the cast that is there in the web series, and then we realize that after spending 1 hour and 2.5 hours, then we feel really jittered. We feel disappointed that our precious time has been grabbed by the. So that is why I agree with Mr. Jerrin that why this ideological stand and convictions and a message like Matthew Arnold has said, the other great critics have said, T.S. Eliot have said, they justify. Even we had other structuralists, we had other linguists, the practical criticism, the neo criticism, and formalism, all that we have to uh, justify that. So every movie has to justify on the parameters. Violence is another issue that has to be taken up at some another occasion. So I can see that theater is doing its own job. OTT platforms have come with, because it's new and they are highly enthusiastic. OTT is just busting with lot of visto and vigor and lot of enthusiasm. So they are just keen on serving the audience with whatever they have, and I think it is transforming. It is it is under metamorphosis. It is changing. It is flux, and it is under improvisation. And I think the censor board will also put some restrictions in order to um, make it more literary, make it more meaningful. So movies and meaning has lot many, it's symbolic, it's metaphorical. Movies and meaning have lot many things to say, lot many things to convey. Just these two words convey a lot, and that cinema into text and text into language, and vice versa. So we see that, and I'm happy that today movie making and filmmaking is emerging, is an emerging trend, is the need of the time. The topic is the most relevant topic I consider today, and it's very useful. And almost all the audience and all these people are really interested in this topic, because even the literature is being fast being converted into, changed into, transcreated into the web series, movies, and the plays and all that. So I'm thankful to Prasanta Chakraborty sir, the Vice President of iSPELL and the head of Tripura Forum. Tripura Forum is doing a wonderful human job, and I really envy Tripura, and that I think the need for the MP Forum is on the offing, and the activities of iSPELL are unmatchable, unparalleled. Dr. J. Ghanshyam is doing a wonderful job. Our president, Dr. Jyoti Patil, is very committed to the and dedicated to this academic cause. And as a team, uh, the production or the delivery of such lectures is uh, going to be, immortal, in the sense that this will remain on. It's a creative lecture. It's going to remain on YouTube, in the Facebook, and we can, because this today's keynote speech was was full of matter and meaning and content, and I myself would like to rewind and go back to it and listen to it. And the expression and delivery of our keynote speaker was beyond, you know, praise. It is so wonderful that I enjoyed and listened to each and every word of his with great attention. And there are many issues. I too had a questions which I would have perhaps asked you, but in the forthcoming sessions, in upcoming sessions, I hope we'll be meeting you off and on digital platform and digital media, and otherwise. And I hope you will listen to our queries, sir, and will pacify, because this lecture of yours has generated a lot of curiosity, a lot of inquisition in our minds and heart, and it is made us inclined to. This can be a very good topic for our PhD scholars also, and there are many more. We can explore lot many areas. Now our students are also working on adaptations of the literature, and there have been cinema, and we have EMRCs in every universities, which do help at times in helping our students, that those who want to work on literature and cinema as their research topics. So I'm really thankful to uh, Prasanta Chakraborty, Dr. Ghanshyam, Dr. Pramod Nengle sir, and Dr. Jyoti Patil for giving me this precious chance to be with Jerrin today and Aditya, and have listened to such a wonderful interaction. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for addressing this program. Jerrin, sir, being an independent filmmaker myself, it was very inspirational in getting to know about your journey in the industry, and let's just hope that the indie filmmaking industry in India reaches higher heights. And I hope that iSPELL Tripura will continue to come up with such informative, interactive sessions in the future as well. And Mr. Jerrin Chandan, I, on behalf of Tripura, wish you all the very best in all your future endeavors. Thank you, everyone, for joining in.
Can I have the last one sentence?
Sure, sir. Sure.
First and foremost, I want to thank Ashok sir for that generous appreciation. I'm not sure I did justice to the topic. The topic is very, very wide, and with the limited time, I try to address as many as possible. If Shakespeare was alive today, he would not write plays, he would make movies. Because during his time, plays were the most popular genre, and he was catering to the popular. He had the public in mind, I'm sure. So today literatures need to be presented. Today we have audio visual text as part of us, texts. So thank you for the opportunity. I feel extremely humbled and grateful. And would one of the ways to improve the quality of the audience is through networking. See, today I'm here and there is a filmmaker like Aditya there, so if we can both join hands, share ideas, and then we network. It is the networking of the good people, the good audience, and we build it up over a period of time, and then we have wonderful content coming out in the future. So I'm looking forward to networking with you on any lines and for the discussions in the future. So I'm extremely grateful and thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you, one and all.